Welcome to the Houston Hustle, the podcast that spotlights the movers, the makers, and the doers shaping the city we love. Each week, we sit down with Houston's top entrepreneurs to talk who they are, how they built it, the principles that drive them, and what success means beyond the highlight reel. This is Real Hustle, Real Stories, Real Houston. Welcome to the Houston Hustle. I'm Dr. Paige Ward.
And I'm Dr. Charlie Ward.
And today we have our guest, Dr. Rachel Moore. So, for those who don't know you, tell us who you are and what you do.
I am Dr. Rachel Moore. I own Disrupt Physical Therapy, which is currently in the process of rebranding to Onward Houston. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I specialize in fitness athletes and pelvic floor. So pregnancy, postpartum, menopause, whatever season of life, particularly with pelvic floor concerns, and people that are looking to just stay active or get active. So that's kind of like my bread and butter.
I love it. And you also teach on those things too.
I do teach on those things. Yes, I teach with the Institute of Clinical Excellence. So I travel all over the country once a month to every 2 months or so, teaching clinicians, other PTs or rehab providers in general. So chiros, OTs, sometimes fitness professionals about how to apply fitness forward principles to pelvic floor rehab. So keeping people moving throughout pregnancy. We really dive into all of the updated research and literature. And so very evidence-based course.
Yes, very, very cool. I've seen all your posts on that you are heavy into them.
So much evidence. It's so much fun.
I love that so much. Okay, so was this always the plan?
This was not always the plan. No. So when I actually decided to become a physical therapist in high school, so that part was the plan, knew that. My dad and brother had both had surgeries that they had to go to PT for. And I knew that I wanted to do something medical, but I didn't really know what. And I saw the relationships that they've made with their PTs and the way that what they did working with them transformed not just how they felt physically, but also like mentally and emotionally. So in particular, my brother had an ACL repair and went from not being able to walk and really feeling down on himself as a high schooler who was walking around with crutches when he finally could get moving to getting back to doing what he loved. And so seeing that change was huge. And the relationship that they had made was just so impactful, even being an outsider looking in, not even being a part of it. So made the plan that I wanted to be a PT, did all the things to make that happen. So got a bachelor's of science in kinesiology, worked as a tech in undergrad at a PT clinic, and saw the worst model of care that you could possibly do, honestly. But just cramming patients in, 4 to 6 patients an hour, running around like a chicken with my head cut off, helping with all of that. Got into PT school, thought I was going to go work for that company. And then honestly, just think it was everything happening how it was supposed to. My husband got relocated right when I graduated PT school. So we had a list of 12 cities that we could move to.
Wow.
He had to do like panel interviews and he ranked the cities and Houston was like number 8 on our list. But it wasn't, I'm from Katy and I thought I'd never wanted to come back. We were in DFW at the time. So we were like looking at California and Washington and Oregon and all these places. We're like, that would be kind of cool and exciting. And come to find out, we got Houston and I cried so
No way.
did not want to come back, kicking and screaming. And now I can't imagine being anywhere else. So, but moving back here obviously took away that career opportunity piece. And so when we got here, I was honestly trying to find a job was a struggle. Like I was trying to find something in outpatient orthopedics, was really having a hard time for finding something that wasn't going to include a commute. And I didn't want to drive super far. And I ended up landing in pediatrics briefly, which is not my forte. I love children. I have my own children. I love them so much. I do not love treating children. And so I did that for probably about 2 months. And it honestly was the best thing because it made me uncomfortable. And it made me like, this can't be it. Like, I've got to figure out what else I want to do. And at the time, I actually wanted to work with veterans, disabled veterans. My dad's a disabled vet. And because he's a veteran, he was able to get my college completely paid for. And so through the Hazelwood Act. So I wanted to give back. And so amputations was in particular something I was really interested in. And I had reached out to somebody from an older cohort of my school and asked them what course can help me do this. Like, this is what I want to do. How do I achieve this goal? And he actually linked me up with the Institute of Clinical Excellence. They have a course that's called Clinical Management of the Fitness Athlete. And so it teaches like the fundamentals of fitness movement. So back squats and deadlifts and overhead pressing and pull-ups. And at that point in time, like me and my husband were going to LA Fitness and doing like bodybuilder splits. So we were active,
Yes.
but we weren't doing anything like CrossFit at all. So I was so intimidated, jumped into the class, and it was life-changing in every way. So it showed me functional fitness as a method of exercise. So something that I was terrified to do. And in PT school, they kind of brainwash you that like CrossFit equals injury. And if you,
I feel like that's like a lot of the fitness.
oh my gosh, yes, totally, 100%. And so my husband wanted to join a CrossFit gym, and when I was in PT school, and I was like, no, we cannot do that. Also, we're broke and we can't afford it. So that too. And so it kind of opened my eyes to what functional fitness could be, what these movements were. So we ended up going to a gym. We fell in love with it. So we started there. And then along that same timeline, I got offered a job as a clinic director in the Heights. So I was commuting into the Heights, didn't keep my goal of not commuting.
No.
Started working at a clinic in the Heights it was an outpatient orthopedic clinic. I was the only PT there. And when I took it over, it was at a negative 400% profit margin.
Oh my gosh, I remember you
They
telling me.
just like hemorrhaging money. That was wild. It was in like a big medical building off of 6th Street.
Right.
So like I can't even imagine the price of the rent. And it was a big clinic. Like it was way more space than one clinician needed for sure.
And this was pre-COVID, right?
This is pre-COVID.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is like 2018, 2019. So started working there, took it over, marketed my butt off, hustled so hard, made tons of connections. The Heights is such a great area. Like
Yes.
there's just so much there. There's so many providers there. And I was a new grad. So this was all like, I didn't know how to market. I didn't know how to go out and I was going to meet orthopedic surgeons, and I'm sure they were looking at me like, this girl just got out of kindergarten. And but we made relationships and we grew it. And we went from negative 400%, by we, I mean me, negative 400% to zero.
Which
Like
is
we
huge.
got to zero.
Huge.
And I did that. It was about a year and a half. And at my 1-year review point, I sat down with my boss at the time. I was like, this is going to be such a great review. Like, I can't wait. And he pretty much was like, hey, we're so proud of everything you did. Corporate loves you. Everything's great, but you're not getting a raise because it doesn't check the boxes on this piece of paper. Like, we're not at 10%, whatever. We don't have this much patient volume. And so it was this moment of dawning on me, like, in a corporate setting, I don't think I'm ever going to be satisfied because I'm always going to be having to check other people's boxes.
Yes.
And my performance is always going to be graded based on something arbitrary, like a piece of paper. Like
versus like actual results.
Yes, totally. And so I had taken that online course. I kind of dabbled in a couple other courses. So my confidence as a clinician was growing. And I was coming home every day, actually seeing the owner of the gym at the time for his wrist. And I'd get in to see him. I was just seeing him for free. And I would complain the entire time. I was like, oh, my stupid job and this and that. And I'm having to do this. And finally kind of started thinking about doing my own thing. And it was this back and forth of like, well, where do you think you would open? And I was like, well, I don't know. And he's like, well, do you think maybe a gym? And I was like, well, I don't know. And he's like, well, do you want to do it here? And it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
So Disrupt started as a side hustle and completely never would have thought we'd get here as a table in the side of the closet of a CrossFit gym.
I love
100%.
that.
Yeah. Very organic grassroots.
Yes, absolutely.
For sure. So did that as a side hustle for a few months and then found out I was pregnant with my daughter. And that was the turning point where I was like, I don't want to commute anymore. I don't want to work 40 hours plus a week for somebody else. And a job that at that point was now apparent to me was pretty thankless. And I wasn't really getting fully appreciated for the work that I was doing. And so I ended up putting in my notice, gave them an excessively long notice because I was the only PT and I wanted to make sure that I had time to bring somebody in. So I gave them like a 90-day notice and then worked at another clinic of theirs for like 3 weeks to help onboard a new director of that clinic. And then finally cut ties with all of that in November of 2019. So that was my like, good to go. And then went all in on Disrupt and then had my daughter a month early in February of 2020.
Oh my goodness.
So did all this while pregnant. Hustled and built, made connections, had her a month early, and then everything shut down in March.
COVID.
Good old COVID. So that was an experience as a brand new business owner, not really kind of knowing what to do.
That's huge, right? So how did you navigate COVID then?
Yeah. So it actually, people always talk about my daughter's a COVID baby, right?
Yes.
Everybody always references like, oh, those COVID babies. Honestly, it was probably the best time to have a newborn. Like the worst part was I couldn't go like run around Target to take a break.
Right.
And there were resources we definitely didn't get in retrospect. But I got to be home with my daughter, and I got paid from the government to be home with my daughter for 3 or 4 months. And I wasn't going to have a paid maternity leave at that point, honestly, because I had left that company. So it was going to be like, well, we'll just figure this out and make it work. So it kind of gave me a paid maternity leave and gave me time to kind of figure out, okay, what does this look like now that she's here? And so I started seeing people in my driveway. I would be in my garage. I would be in my driveway. And I think people were desperate at that point for social interaction.
Oh, they 100% were.
It was like, you know what? I will be there. And so we would stand our 10 feet apart or whatever. I would have a little
arbitrary number.
Yes, arbitrary number. I would have theirs. Not 9.6 inches. But I had their station set up and I had my station set up. And so we would go through the exercise component. And that's kind of how Disrupt really kickstarted. So went from the driveway, and then as like restrictions started letting up, our gym opened pretty quick. Then I started seeing people in my gym office. At that point, I had moved in away from the little table in the closet to my own office. So I had a full space, moving on up, still kind of a small space, so it's fine. And another big turning point, and I think big key thing for COVID, is that at that point in time, people were having a really hard time getting into pelvic PT. Because of wait lists, which is always the struggle if you're thinking like insurance-based and hospital-based for pelvic rehab, but also the hospitals were being so strict on masks, and you can't bring your baby, and you definitely can't bring your toddler with you who's coming along with you, but also your toddler can't go to daycare, and neither can your newborn, and you can't have somebody come to the house and watch them because they might have COVID. And so then it was like, how are these people actually supposed to get care in any capacity?
It's completely cut off so many people.
Completely. And so I was at the point myself where I was like, I don't really care if you bring your kids, bring your baby. If you don't want to wear a mask, I don't care. I'm going to wear a mask because what I want to do at this point in time. If that bothers you, sorry.
Right.
But I don't care what you do. And so that again was another, when I look back at like Disrupt's kind of journey, pivotal point of COVID actually kind of being helpful, where it got our name out as the providers who are going to be family friendly and are going to make this accessible, whether it's like virtual or in a driveway or in office. It's because so much of pelvic floor rehab, you could do a lot virtually and you could do a lot remotely, but for the people that want that internal assessment, like you need to be in person for that. And so it was a huge point that launched us, I think, into that next stage of like, okay, now my schedule's filling because the word's getting out within this community of new moms that like, I will see you and you can't have your baby here and you can bring your toddler and it's all going to be okay.
That is so cool. No, I mean, I've talked about this before on this show, but like a lot of people think with COVID that there were so much detrimental things that happened, and there was, don't get me wrong. But also business-wise, so many businesses started, developed, flourished, and there were so many positives. And we were talking before this, like, I think everything works out in your favor.
Everything works out.
It was perfect.
Exactly.
So tell me about the name Disrupt.
So Disrupt was kind of my middle finger, honestly. I've always kind of been a rebel. Like when I was in track in high school, my coach had broken his leg and he was in a wheelchair, broken leg, and he would yell at us to run faster. And I was like, this man's telling me to run faster. Are you kidding? Like, that's like my personality.
You can't even catch me.
Yes. Like, you're going to tell me this and like, come at me. Like, that's just my personality, I guess. And so always kind of been like a pushing back against people who tell me what to do type of situation. And so with physical therapy specifically, being at that clinic that I was at the time when Disrupt really launched, we had a very poor payer mix. So we saw insurance, the insurances that we saw reimbursed so poorly, like $35 a visit.
It's ridiculous, especially when you think about like, how much, and I know your dad helped you out, but like think about how much it costs and the energy to go to school and all that time. It's just
7 years.
It's like $30-some dollars.
Yeah.
No.
And so we were having to cram in as many patients as we could within an hour.
Right.
Which then there's no way to actually do that and bill in a way that is truly ethical.
Yeah.
Truly.
No,
to treat like 100 patients in an hour in a PT setting.
And also because insurance also has like guidelines of like, you need to do this for this many visits.
Exactly. One-on-one.
Yeah.
Or you can't bill it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so there was a lot of just questionable things because of insurance and the standard of care that insurance sets. Like you almost have to be one of 6 people. Otherwise the clinic can't stay open.
Yeah.
And if they can't stay open, you can't get your care. And so that and then like the visit limits was another thing where, oh, well, insurance says you're not getting better fast enough, or you got better too fast and now we're done, even though you can't do the thing you're trying to, like, you can't get back to the gym like you wanted to, but you have 0 degrees of knee extension. So now your rehab's over. So arbitrary standards, arbitrary numbers, somebody that's non-clinical, making the choices on what anybody should be doing. And so that made me mad. And I was like, this is ridiculous. And this standard of care needs to be disrupted. And so that's where Disrupt came up. And then as I continued to evolve Disrupt, when I started it, I wasn't doing pelvic. I was just doing orthopedics. When I got pregnant with my daughters, when I kind of dove into pelvic health, because I wanted to keep doing CrossFit, didn't really know what I could do or should or shouldn't, or could or couldn't. And so that was kind of my segue into pelvic health. And so as I continued to learn more and really get involved in the pelvic floor side of things, like our typical messaging that we give pregnant patients, not we, but other people give pregnant patients, is like, well, don't lift anything over 10 pounds.
You're fragile.
Yeah, you're fragile. Exactly. And I'm like, no, absolutely. I'm growing a whole person. Like I am the farthest thing from fragile at this point.
Absolutely.
So that was kind of like a double down. Like this is what Disrupt is all about. 100%.
I love it. I love it. Very much in line with how I feel too. So that's great. Now tell me, why are we switching to Onward?
We are switching to Onward for primarily support. So I've been doing Disrupt for 7 years now, and I love it. It's been fantastic. And I feel like my ability to grow based on our name Disrupt is so small from a local standpoint. Like it's just Disrupt. And if you don't know about Disrupt and you don't happen to come across Disrupt, like somebody from California isn't going to send their aunt to Disrupt, you know? And so when Onward first started, Onward Physical Therapy as a whole, they actually started around the same time that Disrupt started, a little bit before. I remember being in the break room at my clinic on the phone with the CEO now of Onward. They had put a call out to PTs who had taken those Institute of Clinical Excellence courses saying, hey, we want to do something different. We want to open an out-of-network clinic. We want it to be synonymous with excellent care, and we want clinicians who are willing to do that. And so we're not just doing the table in the CrossFit gym. We're talking like a clinic space that is an elevated level, but your excellence in delivering quality care is what we're seeking to do that. And so I had gotten on the phone with him and I was like, I'm all in. Let's do this. Let's open an Onward in Texas. And he was like, you got to move. Because at that point in time, we didn't have direct access in Texas to physical therapy. So we had no really access at all. You could do an evaluation, but everything beyond that, you had to have a referral for.
What? I did not know this.
Yeah, just an evaluation. And so that put a hard stop to it. Like we can't really move forward with a cash-based out-of-network model if you have no direct access, because then you rely on kicking people back to the doctors to try to get a referral, and it slows things down and people aren't able to get back in for their visits until 2 to 3 weeks later. And so it just doesn't work in that system. So that's where it kind of was like, well, if I can't do this with Onward and I don't want to do this for this clinic, I'm going to do this on my own. And so it's always been in the back of my mind, always. And I've watched Onward continue to grow. So they have like 40, I think now, clinics across the country.
Okay.
They're just all over the place and they're continuing to grow. And I know the owners of the company really well. I know a lot of the owners of the individual clinics really well. And just getting to see the way that they've been able to grow in their communities, partly just in having that name behind them.
Yeah.
And the spaces and the support to create the spaces and the templates to create the spaces, just all of that backing. It was such a draw after doing this 7 years alone. It's like, man, I just want to have somebody else to be on my side and help me out with these hard decisions and hard choices. And so in September, we got direct access to PT for 30 days in Texas, which is a huge jump. I honestly never thought we would get there. And so we have 30 days of direct access now. And I kept going back and forth. I was like, if I bring this up, it's going to happen. And so I don't want to bring it up until I'm 100% ready that I want this to happen. And we had been coasting with Disrupt. Like Cassie and I were doing great. We were busy enough. I had a really nice work-life balance. I was able to be home a lot. I was also crushing it in the clinic when I was there. And so things were comfortable. And comfortable is great, but I get bored when I'm comfortable. And so that plus the timing of direct access. And then Cassie found out she was pregnant. And so I knew that she was going to be going out on maternity leave. I knew I needed to hire somebody in. And hiring again, little baby name of Disrupt. My pool is pretty small. Cast a bigger net with Onward. National level, people move to work for Onwards. And so that really opened up a better opportunity to just find the clinician that's the good fit for what we're looking for. And so it was kind of this culmination, direct access passing, and we've been kind of comfortable for a little too long. And I was itching for some type of change regardless. And I knew I needed to do something. And it was either Disrupt's going to have to change regardless because Cassie's going out, bringing somebody in. There will be change. We might as well
Just go
all in. Like, just do
full
it.
send.
Full send. And so that's what we did. We full sent it. And I honestly, there's been a few points along the way that I've been like, oh my God, is this really happening? Especially because before I ever had Disrupt, I wanted to do Onward. So it's this almost like full circle moment of like a dream come
You
true.
manifested it.
Exactly.
It was just,
It took a while to get there. And I think it happened when it needed to happen. And I think it happened in the way that it needed to happen because we had talked about maybe moving for me to go work for an Onward for a while. And we just have such a great community here now. And I can't imagine leaving it. And so I just really feel like everything was in the timing that it needed to happen and the way that it needed to happen. Now, every time I think about it, I get nothing but like excited butterflies in my stomach and nothing negative at all, which is awesome. It's a good feeling.
That is fantastic. Now, you said a couple of things. Number one, you said that you were comfortable for a long time, which I am 100%. Like Dr. Charlie and I had the same kind of thing. We did really well and we were really comfortable for a long time, but we found that with comfort over time, you get complacent with things.
Totally.
And if you're not uncomfortable, you're not going to keep growing. And it's always like, okay, I've discovered now I don't ever want to be comfortable again. I want to keep pushing myself to that next level because, like I said, it brings complacency. So that's awesome that you pushed yourself and stepped outside of it. And also, you were talking about when you were working as that clinic director and you were a new grad, you didn't know, like, I'm guessing you didn't know a lot about business.
Nope.
Because, like,
I don't get
I'm sure it's similar. You can be the best PT ever. But you don't know business. And if you're opening your own and running your own. So I'm sure you took a lot of what you learned in marketing and building relationships and your personal growth in general. But I think also with Onward now, you're saying that they have these systems. So it's good to have that just like extra business mind because I'm sure they have lots of business knowledge.
Totally.
So just those SOPs, like you were saying before we started this and everything, it is huge. Okay. So I had a question for you and it was just in my head. Hang on. What has been one of the most challenging things about running your own business?
I think one of the most challenging things is trying to be in control of everything all the time and understanding that as a business owner, you cannot be. Not. Like you kind of like, I think the two things in life that have made me be less type A are parenting and being a business owner. Because both of those things, you have to just accept that somebody else is calling the shots sometimes and you can't make other people do the things that you want them to do. And I think that's been the biggest thing. So that's come up with like hiring and thinking that I had the perfect thing and then it fell through and decisions on partnerships that then didn't actually work out very well. And all of these things where being able to understand that like, okay, we made this choice. I made this decision. It's okay that it didn't go the way that I thought it would and have peace with that and move forward with that and be able to let go of that. Like I have to be over everything. And then along with that, when I did finally find the right person with Cassie, who's truly the best employee to ever exist, that ability to delegate things too. Goes along with that control.
I think that's one of the things. I think because I'm very type A too, and this has been a hard lesson for me. I think you can grow to a certain point, but then you stagnate yourself or plateau yourself if you're not willing to let go of some things.
Totally.
Because that drains you too. So like my business coach was telling me, like, you make a list of like 10 things you love doing in the office and 10 things you hate. And the things that you don't like delegate those.
I love that.
So you're not just like draining yourself constantly. So my other question for you is, where do you see yourself going? Like, what is your end goal?
Yeah. So I have a very aggressive growth model in mind for Onward. Right now we have a clinic in the Woodlands, a clinic in Spring, a clinic in Bel Air, and then we had one up in the Magnolia, Conroe area. But they're all sublet offices. So they're all like inside of other businesses. And so with doing the standalone office, we're pulling out of the Woodlands and Spring, and we're going to kind of a central point between those two locations. We're keeping our Bel Air one. So my goal is that for the next 4 years, I want 4 Onwards. So I want to get one going and then I want to immediately go into the next one. So I think because we have kind of a foundation in a lot of these areas already, we have patients in the Magnolia area. We have patients in the Bel Air area. We have patients in the Woodlands area. We're already established as a name. And so I think when we have this luxury space, which I cannot wait for this phase. Every day I go into my other offices now, I'm like, I love this. And also I just cannot wait for this to be better because I believe so firmly in the quality of care that we're giving is top notch, 100%. And the environments that we're in are not that same standard. Not that there's anything wrong with them.
No, it's a different vibe.
It's a great birth center. Yeah. Different vibe. And it's just different. And so being able to have that is going to be so amazing. And so, yeah. So I think when we have that location and like vibe of the space to match the excellence and care that we're delivering, I can't see how it's going to do anything but grow. Like it is going to just get better and better and just grow so much faster. So I want to have within 4 years a Bel Air clinic because Cassie lives in town. So I want her to be able to not have to commute because the commute is personal to me.
Yes.
I want to have our Woodlands or our Gosling Road location. I want to put one in Magnolia because that is an area that I also feel like is booming.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Tons of young families, tons of active people. I have a friend who's in the process of building a gym out there. So we're really excited to kind of, as they get growing, partner with them and support them so that once we're ready, we're kind of connected with a community of fitness already. And my husband's in commercial real estate. So I get like a cheat code a little bit. I also think Bridgeland is the other area I want to expand to. That was his pick. I was like, I don't know anybody over there. But we want to try to start growing in that direction too. So 4 clinics in 4 years is my goal.
Yeah, speak it out. And say, if you don't speak out your vision, it's not going to happen. So I love that. That's fantastic. Okay. So for our, what?
I just feel like once you've started one office, you have the systems and procedures, and you can just stay.
You just plug and play and it snowballs.
It's just your blueprint. You can do one thing really well. I mean, of course you can do the next one and the next and the next one. So that's so awesome. So for our listeners who want to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
So our Instagram is Onward Houston, already rebranded. We're in an identity crisis. Our website is not officially switched over. I'm on Instagram, Moore.DPT. So people can reach out there personally. And then website currently disruptphysio.com. Will be transitioning. Don't know what the updated URL will be.
Do you know if you're going to have it like forward?
Totally. Yeah. So Disrupt Physio will still be good. I'm going to keep it up for at least a year because we've done so much work to get word of mouth referrals, and Disrupt is like a name. And I don't want somebody to be like, oh, I saw this PT called Disrupt 2 years ago. And somebody goes to Google it and they're like, that doesn't exist anymore. Right. So we're going to keep that page up and then it'll just say like Disrupt. And our website is beautiful. We worked with a branding company and she's fantastic. I refer everybody to her. Our website is gorgeous. And so I'm like, I just need that to exist for another year. And then it'll just forward over to Onward.
Yes.
So
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on our show.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
And we'll see you guys next week. So super easy, right?
Yeah.
You've been listening to Houston Hustle, celebrating the entrepreneurs who are shaping our city. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone building their own dream. Until next time, keep building, keep learning, and keep hustling.